Hey guys, this is your host, Fantastic Facade. You'll notice that this is just my voice, and AAA is not currently with me. But I wanted to do a quick announcement before we start this video. First of all, in the background, you'll see a please like, share, subscribe. If you could gladly do that for us, or kindly do that for us, I should say, we would be much appreciative. You guys don't know how much it means to us when we get just one additional subscriber, because we're such a small channel. And we've been putting out content for quite a while. Um, so the other thing I wanted to address really quick before we jump into the short video that we're putting out for today, because we didn't have a guest, is that next week we're going to be doing a video with a Dr. Richard Anderson. We're very, very excited. We're going to be talking about evolution in the future, if that makes any sense. By that we mean kind of how things are going to continually evolve, including the human race and what we're going to have to do about it, as well as some other subjects. Again, this guy is really, really smart. Glad we were able to come across his profile. Glad we're able to get him on the show, and hopefully we get a little traction on it, get some good guests and questions in the chat. So if you guys have options, or if you're watching next week, and if you can watch next week, it's going to be at 6 p.m. Eastern Time with Dr. Richard Anderson. And please ask questions in the chat. Prepare to come with good questions about biology, evolution, the future, and the environment. We're probably going to be taking on all of those things. It's not going to be a very, I don't think it's going to be a very hardcore debate, but it is going to be a good discussion with a very intellectual-minded person that knows a lot of things that we find very interesting. So we're very excited to pick his brain. Thank you guys so much for watching this short. I hope you guys enjoy it, and we'll see you guys next week. Hey guys, welcome to Now That's Debatable. Back to another short episode with you. Today, of course, from the host, Fantastic Facade, joined with my trusty co-host, AAA the Humanist. Today we're going to be doing a injustice to a topic that I would love to have a almost more time than I should dedicate to it discussion on the subject of free will. But we're going to be taking on free will and specifically why AAA thinks it's an incoherent concept. So I'm probably going to be doing a lot of the questioning, and essentially AAA is going to be defending his argument. So take us away.
Sure, yeah. So free will. I don't I think it's incoherent because I don't see any room for it. So for me, you have first let's go over something. Like let's law of excluded middle, just in case you're not familiar with it. So law of excluded middle means like you have if a true dichotomy with a true dichotomy, you only have two options, right? Apples or non-apples, right? So those are two sets, right? Everything that exists fits into those categories. Everything that exists is either an apple or a non-apple, right? So let's replace apples with determinism, right? You have like determinism, and then you have non-determined, right? So it's if you were describing any sort of state of affairs or any sort of system or object, it is either determined or is not determined. When we say not determined, for me, that is the definition of random. So determined and non-determined, you can just say determinism, you can say determined, or you can just say random. Neither one of those things gives you free will. So in order to have free will, you're going to have some third option. You're going to have a system that is neither determined or non-determined. And that is the huge problem I see with it. Because with determined, we talk about something being determined, that is a some sort of state that is required by the prior set of affairs. Like talk about dominoes falling, right? This last domino is determined to fall based on the previous state of affairs, right? That's because other dominoes are falling, right? If the domino just fell willy nilly, right, just without a cause, then that still wouldn't entail free will either. It's not. Remember, the domino is not a good analogy because the domino isn't conscious. But if we said if we had a conscious person that was doing things randomly, that wouldn't entail free will either. Like they're not making any sort of like conscious decisions or anything. It's just randomness. So that's why I don't see any room for it.
So, what are your thoughts on compatibilism?
Yeah. So compatibilism, um, for the audience, hopefully, I don't know if y'all listened to our talk with um what was his name? I don't want to say his real name. What was the for free will episode we did? It was months ago.
Um,
You know,
Morpheus?
yeah, Morpheus. We had to talk with Morpheus. We talked about compatibilism on the show. So compatibilism to me is just illusory free will. Compatibilism is just the idea that I feel like I have free will, which I'm okay with. Like in that sense, I'm a compatibilist. I mean, I think most people would say that they feel like they have the sensation that they have free will. So sure, you know, but that's not free will. That's illusory free will. So that's not the thing. And as a matter of fact, you could have illusory free will with randomness as well. So, but I mean, um, compatibilism. A lot of people think it's some sort of like marriage between free will and determinism. It's not. To me, it's a fraudulent marriage between determinism and an incoherent concept, free will. So
So, just for the sake of argument and for the sake of the audience, when when you say, for instance, things like determinism, obviously we mean things like cause and effect, right? You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
I drop a glass on the floor on a cement floor, the glass is gonna break, right? You know, that kind
Hmm.
of thing. So obviously that plays a huge role in how everything on Earth operates, right?
Hmm.
But then you come to the agent aspect of it, which is not something that typically we use to oftentimes in how the rules of the universe are set up. We typically don't think of like agent status. And what I mean by that for everyone listening is that you have an independent actor or agent, a person with consciousness, or even animals that have consciousness. You know, things that are capable of making a decision, which is not something that a being without consciousness can do. For instance, a
Hmm.
glass has no choice whether it's going to break. It's just going to be the force applied minus the force that's exerted. And
Yeah.
if one is greater than the other, it will either break or not break.
Hmm.
Versus a conscious agent or actor, like a human, has this really unique thing available to them called decision making. So, wouldn't, for the sake of argument, being able to make decisions alter the outcome?
So I wouldn't say that because I mean, to me, the decisions that you made, like I'm not a neurologist, but I mean, it's something there's things that's going on in your brain. There's the neurons that are firing off in different directions, and they're doing that for a particular reason that was caused by something by a state of affairs prior to that. Whatever was going on in the universe, including your body and all that kind of stuff. So like your decision is just a result of all of those things.
Right,
So
but
it's
it's not something that's instantaneous, and it's not something that I have to necessarily choose in the moment. We're not talking about like a fight or flight reflex necessarily here. We're talking
nah.
about something that I may have days to think about, or even weeks or years to contemplate
Yep. Yeah.
and come to my own decision on.
Yeah. The reasons that you're taking days and contemplating all that kind of stuff. those are all those are all things that happen because of certain other things that was happening in the universe, like previous things that were happening in the universe. Like like so, you're faced with a decision, and you're like, I'm not gonna act right now. I'm gonna sit here and wait. That is a mental state that you have because neurons firing off in certain directions because of a prior state of affairs. So that is still determined.
So you
That's
think, even in a state of making decisions, that my decisions are determined.
Yeah, I would say your decisions
I
are
don't have
determined.
I don't have the option to decide otherwise.
You would have to break the chain of causality. If you I don't see how you could do that. But if you were to break causality, as in now things are happening without cause, that to me would be random. I don't know how that would entail free will.
Well, I wouldn't say they would be happening without cause. They'd be happening because I caused them.
Well, then, so then
I'm an actor. I'm inserting my. I'm interjecting
hmm
into a potential outcome, what desired result I want to have.
yeah, I don't see how you could interject into the causal chain because you're part of the causal chain. You're you're you were born at a certain time and place and had certain opinions because of the culture that you were in. Your the feelings, your skills, your weaknesses, all kind of stuff. These are uh, biological attributes that you had no part in. Like all of the things that make you and what cause you to make this decision, that is part of the causal chain. I don't see a way you could step out of it, or maybe or like step out of the universe and then come back in and um, alter that outcome.
I'm not saying you'd have to like step out of the causal chain. I'm just saying, like, obviously
hmm
the causal chain is based on a number of factors in your analogy, that
Yeah,
you
number
could
of factors. Very.
override those factors.
I don't see how you could override the factors. So,
Well, for instance, like, people do things they don't necessarily want to do, right? So
well, sure.
you would think, like, oh, you you're not clearly doing it just on desire,
Well, no,
and you're
like
not necessarily doing things based off necessity.
no, like you can have
So
an addiction to something. Like yeah, that is your
and again,
brain.
that could be just a small part of it, and you're not doing it based on just that either. So what I'm saying is there's a bunch of factors here, and what if your willpower and or desire is enough to overcome these other minor factors?
Where is the willpower coming from? Like, is it just spawning into existence?
No, I mean, like, the
Like
willpower is just my conscious decision making in the moment.
yeah, I mean that's coming from your brain. Like your willpower is something that came about like from your brain, came about through natural processes. Like your any sort of traits, how strong or however weak your willpower is. Like you had no say in that. That's that's just part of the causal chain. So like I guess here's the way that I'll see it. So like you talk about like the first thing that we know to happen in the universe, right? The cosmic inflation, the Big Bang, right? From right there, you're starting this chain. Everything that came and everything that happened after that is part of that causal chain. We're made from those stuff. Those are just natural processes that just keep happening. The the physics turn into chemistry. The chemistry turns into biology, and it's still just and it's, that chain is just keeps on going. We're part of that. We're part of the universe. Like I don't see. Uh, for me, we would have to step out of the universe, which we're part of, and then somehow step back in and change course somehow. I just don't see how that could work.
Well, again, this is where I kind of wanted to go back and just press you on the idea and concept of, like, conscious decision makers,
hmm
which is not something that essentially anything other than maybe humans and animals get to say as far as how the
Yeah.
universe the universe is kind of happening to everything else, right? But then you
And
have
us, we're part of the universe, I would say.
I'm not saying that we're not, but
Hmm.
we're unique in the sense that we're conscious and we can kind of adapt and change and manipulate more than non-conscious creatures.
Sure. Well,
So
well, yeah. I mean, when we talk about like I said, I mean, adapting and changing. I mean, I don't
well,
know.
I mean, like I'll give you a classic
Like
example: is that humans
we
are
definitely get the impression to do that. So when we talk
I'll
about
give you an example, and this is an undoubted scientific fact: is that humans
okay,
are the only creatures capable of changing their environments to adapt to their lifestyle. All other animals change their lifestyle to adapt to the environment.
maybe. I mean, you could maybe. I mean, I could see I see humans and animals doing a little bit of both, right? So we talk about beavers build dams, ant hills. They can ants they build ant hills and stuff. So they change
The
things
humans
around.
have built islands and air
Yes,
conditioning and heating units that can keep us alive through dead cold winters and in the coldest of places on the world.
sure. So like as far as arranging your environment,
We're undoubtedly
humans,
the best at it.
yeah, we're the best at it, but I wouldn't say we're the only ones that do it. But also
Well, we're the
too,
only ones that can do it to live at like any comfortable we could turn any climate into its own our own ecosystem versus
I
like
don't think
animals
I don't
kind
think
of
we could
don't do that
I
way.
don't think we could turn any climate to its own
We can
ecosystem.
do it at any greater an infinite greater level than any animal has ever been capable.
I wouldn't say infinite, but we're definitely much better at it. But I mean, there's literally there's parts of Arizona that we can't terraform, right?
I
That
mean,
we
we
could just
could. It would just be prohibitively useless.
no. I mean, there's parts that we just don't know. We don't know how to grow things there.
That doesn't matter. We could take food and store it there.
We could, yeah, we could take food and store it there. I mean, but that's not. I mean, that's. I guess you could say that's
You could
arranging it.
live the entire life of a human from birth till death there
it
in a
yeah,
normal yeah
you
because you could bring food into it and you could build shelter and cool it down and you don't have to grow crops, you can just bring crops from other places
yeah. I mean,
because
yeah,
humans are inventive, like we've done
yeah,
these things like we
yeah, sure. You could do that, but like I mean, so yeah, you can arrange your environment. You can adjust your environment to to a certain extent, right? Of course, and we're very limited on where we can do it. Like it has to be in certain places, like can't be in outer space or something like that. At least not yet. But even then, there's also limitations even on that, and that is what like, and that's dictated by the environment itself,
I
right? So
get that,
like,
and I think we're getting really far off the original topic here.
yeah, yeah,
Let's draw it back. The reason I said that and the reason I kind of brought that up is because humans kind of have a special way of doing things that no other creature has done until us, at least in the known observed universe. Now, if there may be aliens or some other creatures somewhere that are even far better at it than humans, but for sake of argument, humans are the best at it.
sure.
And because we're the best at it, we have the best chance of manipulating factors that are trying to manipulate us.
Hmm.
So wouldn't you say that we have the best chance of the closest thing to a free will in the sense that we could overcome things that the universe is kind of throwing at everybody else. For instance, like earthquakes and tsunamis, that we've literally come up with ways to combat this.
I would yes,
And
I would say that like I wouldn't even call it the
we're
closest thing to free
combating what the
will.
universe is throwing at us.
I would say that our illusion of free will is much more convincing than that of like bacteria or bad or even that of an ant, right? Because we talk about just like our dexterity of being able to manipulate the environment. It would seem like we would have free will. Like that is a very convincing illusion. Still, I still don't think we hit it because
All right. Well,
we're a part of it.
all right.
Yeah,
Well, we're at our time. I think this conversation deserves an infinite more time than we're going to give it.
definitely.
And I could go
Yeah.
on to this forever. I love the conversation. I love the topic. I love talking about it. Even agreeing or disagreeing. And for the record, I would say that I'm a compatibilist, which means I don't think you have free will. I think you have a good illusion that you have free will. And that's the extent of what I believe on the subject. So it's not that I was throwing these questions out, it was just mainly for the audience sake. But if you do have questions like this and you want to come on the show, please let us know. Reach out to us, ask us. We'll love to comment. These are conversations that I particularly enjoy. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will see you guys very shortly. Hope you're enjoying the new format, and we'll see you soon.